Hello students, how are you all doing today? I hope you all must be enjoying this coldest season of the year. Dear students, this video is a part of series of video lectures about tenses, and my today's lecture will talk about past perfect tense. Now see this sentence. I'd eaten my breakfast before I went to school. Now this is a typical sentence of past perfect tense. Now we can divide this sentence into two parts. The first part is I had eaten breakfast, and the second part is I went to school. So there are two parts, and you can see that these two parts are joined by before. Now, in past perfect tense, two actions take place in the past and one action takes place before the second action. Now see these both actions, which are these two actions? One, eating breakfast, second, going to school. These both actions took place in past, but one action takes place before the other action. So these two actions, out of these two actions, the action which takes place first is in the past perfect tense, and the other part is in past simple tense. Now, how do we use the past perfect tense? The past perfect tense expresses actions in the past before another action in the past, as I've just explained you. This is the past in the past, or we can call it a remote past, okay? So in past perfect tense, it expresses action in the past before another action in the past. So there are basically two actions which take place in past, and since one of them happens before the other one, so we keep one part in past simple, and the other part which takes place before the first part is in the past perfect tense. Now see this example. The train left at 9 a.m. We arrived at 9:15 a.m. Now see, these are two different sentences in past. If we write them separately, these are two sentences and they both are in past simple tense. The train left at 9 a.m. We arrived at 9:15 a.m. So there are two actions which took place in past, but which action took place first? Of course, the train left at 9 a.m. So the train actually left before 15 minutes. So out of these two sentences, if we join them, the sentence would be, when we arrived, the train had left. Since the train left before 15 minutes already, so this part of the sentence would be in past perfect. So in past perfect, usually there are two parts of past perfect tense, and the both actions took place in past, and one action takes place before the second action. So the action which takes place first should be in past perfect, and the other action should be in past simple. Now you can see this example. Had received, it hit. Okay, so there are two actions, one receiving, second hit. Okay, so if we have written had received, that means this action took place before this action. Had eaten, my friend stopped by. So that means now this action took place before this action. That is why this action is in past perfect, and the second action is in past simple tense. Now see these sentences. The Titanic had received many warnings before it hit the iceberg. So which action took place first? Of course, the Titanic received many warnings before it hit the iceberg. So this first action should be or would be in past simple. So in past simple, we have the subject, and then we have got this auxiliary verb, which is had. Unlike in present perfect tense where we have two auxiliary verbs, has and have, in past perfect we have just one auxiliary verb, that is had. That means with all subjects, with all pronouns, we'll be using only had. So I had, you had, we had, they had, Aslam and Noman had. So with all subjects, we can use this one auxiliary verb, which is had. And then since this is perfect tense, keep in mind in perfect tense, we always use past participle form, okay? So the typical structure of past perfect tense is that it has a subject and then auxiliary verb had, and then past participle form, and then the rest of the sentence. So the Titanic had received many warnings before it hit the iceberg. Second sentence could be, I'd already eaten when my friend stopped by to visit. Now see this, had received and it hit. So which action took place first? This had received. The Titanic had received many warnings before it hit the iceberg. And then had eaten, my friend stopped by. Which action took place first? Of course, this action took place first. So I had already eaten before my friend stopped by. I had already eaten when my friend stopped by to visit. Now we use past perfect tense to talk about a past action that ended before another action or time in the past. Now we use before and after. We use the simple past too. See this example. The film had started before we arrived. Again, see there are two parts of this sentence. The film started and we arrived. So which action took place first? Of course, the film started first. So this action or this part of the sentence should be in past perfect, and the other action should be in past simple tense. The film had started before we arrived. Another use could be, we also use the past perfect to show the cause of a past action. I was tired on Monday because I didn't slept well the night before. So why was I tired on Monday? Because a night before I could not sleep well. So which action took place first? I could not sleep well before Monday, before I was tired on Monday. So this action which took place first would be in past perfect, and the other action is in past simple tense. I was tired on Monday because I didn't slept well the night before. Now with time expressions such as when, after, before, as soon as, by the time, by, and until, with these all expressions, time expressions are used in a past perfect tense. Like, by the time I got home, my mother had already prepared dinner. So which action took place first? My mother prepared dinner first, and then I got home. So this, my mother had already prepared dinner, should be, now this action should be in past perfect, and the action which took place later should be in past simple. He came to my house, simple past tense. I had already left. Now see, again, there are two parts of this sentence. Now, which action took place first? He came to my house, I had already left. That means I left first and then he came to my house. So if we join these two, this is going to be, he came to my house after I had already left. So I left first and then he came to my house. Like I see this sentence, he came to my house after I had already left. He came to my house. It is in simple past tense. And after I had already left, this is past perfect. Why? Because I left first. So this action took place first, so it has to be in past perfect. And this action took place later, so it has to be in past simple tense. So usually there are two parts of past perfect sentences in which there are two actions which took place in past, and one action takes place first and then the second action takes place. and the action which takes place first has to be in past perfect, and the other action has to be in past simple. So why this in past perfect? Because this action takes place further back in the past. It takes place further back in the past, in remote past. That is why it is in past perfect tense. Simple past tense. Now see, he came to my house. Again, simple past tense. I had already left. Now see, there are two actions which took place in past. If we join these two sentences, if we write these two sentences alone, isolatedly, so there is no comparison because there are not two actions mentioned. So we don't know if any other action also took place. But if we combine them together, it should be he came to my house after I had already left. So which action? Now here we are comparing these two actions. And since we have mentioned these two, here we have only mentioned one action. So if you're just mentioning one action without referring to any other action, then it has to be in simple past. But if you are comparing that simple action with one other action which took place either before it or after it, and then you're combining them, then one part of the sentence has to be in past simple, and the other part has to be in past perfect. And of course, as I've already explained you, that the action which took place first has to be in past perfect, and the other action has to be in past simple tense. So he came to my house after I had already left. So I left first, and then he came to my house. Look at this example. After I had taken his music lesson, he made a telephone call. After he had taken his music lesson, he made a telephone call. So what did he do first? Of course, he took his music lesson first, and then he made a telephone call. So if we are combining them, this action which took place first has to be in past perfect after he had taken his music lesson, and the other action has to be in past simple. He made a telephone call. So first he took his music lesson, and then he made a telephone call. See this sentence again. Ali had repaired his car before he went fishing. Now see, there are two actions here. He repaired his car, he went fishing. Now which action took place first? Of course, this action took place first. First he repaired his car, and then he went fishing. So if you're combining these two actions, if there are these two parts of this sentence, this part has to be in past perfect because this action took place first, and then this action took place. So Ali had repaired his car. First he repaired his car before he went fishing, and then he went fishing. Now the keywords that we use for this past perfect tense are like after, as soon as, and then plus auxiliary verb had, and then past perfect form of the verb, and then we have this past simple action, past simple tense. So it's a combination of a past perfect tense and a past simple tense. Now the other keywords could be before and by the time. Again, before, by the time, and then past simple, and plus had. Since we have written before by the time, so actually this action took place later. That means this action took place first, and this action took place later. So it doesn't matter whether we use past perfect in first part of the sentence or second part of the sentence, but keep in mind the action which took place first, whether you're mentioning in your first part of the sentence or the second part of the sentence, the action which took place first has to be in past perfect, and the other action has to be in past simple tense. Now make similar sentences using after and before. Finish work, watch TV. Now these are two actions. So for example, if this action took place first and this action took place later, so someone finished work first and then watched TV, the sentence might be, after I had finished work, I watched TV. So what I did first I finished my work, then I watched TV. So this first part which took place first has to be in past perfect. After I had finished work, past perfect, I watched TV, past simple. Now, if we reverse this sentence, before I watched TV, I had finished my work. Now see, we have reversed this sentence. Now, we have used this before I watched TV, this past simple in first and then past perfect. But again, if you see this sentence, which it is not important which action we are writing first. The important thing is which action took place first. So if you see, before I watched TV, I had finished my work. So which action took place first? Of course, first I finished my work, then I watched TV. So it doesn't matter whether you have written this past simple as a first part of the sentence or like in previous example as a second part of the sentence. The key is that you can use this past simple at the end as a second part of the sentence or as a first part of the sentence, but past perfect has to be the action which took place first. So the action which took place first has to be in past perfect. It is not important whether you are mentioning it as your first part of the sentence or second part of the sentence. Keep in mind, you need to remember that which action took place first out of these two. The action which took place first has to be in past simple, and the action which took place later has to be in past simple tense. The maximal sentences using by the time and as soon as, like eat breakfast, go to school. So again, we have got these two these two action words, these two actions, eating breakfast and going to school. By the time I went to school, I had eaten my breakfast. Now, what did I do first? I ate my breakfast first and then I went to school. So this I went to school has to be in past simple because this action took place later, and I had eaten my breakfast has to be in past perfect because this action took place first. So by the time I went to school, I had eaten my breakfast. Now we can reverse this sentence by changing the structure of the sentence. Instead of using by the time, we are using as soon as. So as soon as I had eaten my breakfast, I went to school. Again, the structure of the sentence is different. Here we have used past simple first and then past perfect. Here we have used past perfect first and then past simple. But again, keep in mind that the action which took place first has to be in past perfect, and it is in these both sentences. In both sentences, which action took place first? Eating breakfast. So here I had eaten my breakfast. Here I had eaten my breakfast. So in both sentences, this action which took place first is actually in past perfect, and the other action is in past simple. Okay, so let's have one more example. Please arrive, thief escape. Again, we've got these two actions. Please arrive, thief escape. By the time the police arrived, the thief had escaped. So which action took place first? Thief escaped first, and then the police arrived. Okay, so this action has to be, the action which took place first has to be in past perfect, and the other action is in past simple. By the time the police arrived, the thief had escaped. Now, if we change the structure and we put past simple, past perfect in the beginning, the sentence would be, as soon as the thief had escaped, the police arrived. Again, here, which action took place first? The thief escaped first, and then the police arrived. So the sentence structure is different. but the rule is same, that the action, there are two actions which took place in past, and the action which took place first is in past perfect, and the action which took place later, second, has to be in past simple. So it is correct to say, like, after he had finished the meeting, he made a telephone call. Again, if you see this sentence, what do you think, which action took place first? So there are two actions. He finished the meeting and he made a telephone call. Which action took place first? Of course, he finished the meeting first and then he made a telephone call. So he finished the meeting first. This is the action which took place first. So it has to be in past perfect. After he had finished the meeting, he made a telephone call. Past perfect and then past simple. Or again, if we change the structure of the sentence, before he made a telephone call, he had finished the meeting. But again, if you see this sentence, the action which took place first is still in past perfect. Now what is the structure of past perfect tense? As I've already explained, that we have got a subject here, and then we have got auxiliary verb, and then past participle form of verb. So we have got subject plus auxiliary verb. Now, what is auxiliary verb in past perfect tense? Now, we're not talking about past simple tense, the other part of the sentence, because we have already learned how to make a past simple tense. Here, I'm just talking about one action which took place first, which has to be in past perfect tense. So we've got a subject, and then we've got auxiliary verb, and the auxiliary verb in this case is had. Now, this is the only auxiliary verb that we have in past perfect. That means no matter what subject is, we'll always use auxiliary verb had. Okay, with I we use had, with you we use had, with she, we, with all pronouns and all subjects we'll be using had. So subject plus had and plus are past participle or third form of the verb. So I had finished my work, subject plus had auxiliary verb plus third form of verb finished, and then the rest of the sentences. Rest of the sentence. I had finished my work. You had stopped before me. Now this is how we'll be making a positive sentence of past perfect tense, but how to change it into negative and interrogative. Now, in my previous videos, I've already told you that if you have got an auxiliary verb in your tense, it is going to be very easy to make it or to convert it into negative or interrogative. So if you got, do you remember the rule? If you have got an auxiliary verb, just put not after this auxiliary verb, it becomes a negative, and just place this auxiliary verb in the beginning of the sentence and it becomes a question, an indicative question. Okay, so like I had finished my work. If you want to change it into negative, I had, this is auxiliary verb had, and then add not here. I had finished my work. I had not finished my work. You had stopped before me. You had not stopped before me. She had gone. She had not gone. We had not left. We had left. We had not left. Okay, so just add not after had, after auxiliary verb, and it is your negative sentence. And if you want to convert it into a yes no question, you will be placing this had at the beginning of the sentence. So I had finished. I had not finished. Had I finished? You had stopped. You had not stopped. Had you stopped as a question? She had gone, positive. She had not gone, negative. Had she gone? Indicative question, just no question. And if you want to make interrogative question, you know the rule. You will be placing this WH words like when, where, why before the auxiliary verb. So like you had stopped, positive. You had not stopped, negative. Had you stopped? Indicative question, just no question. Had you stopped? And then why had you stopped? When had you stopped? okay, as interrogative questions. So this is the structure of the past perfect tense. So that's all about past perfect tense. I'm sure you have enjoyed this video and you must have got a very good idea about past perfect tense. Please take a very good care of yourself. Bye-bye.